Hello, hello, and hello. Welcome, everybody, to the Expanding Your Impact with Barbara Beckley. Yes. And just to let you know, my name is Barbara Beckley. And I am the host every Thursday for you for Expanding Your Impact show. This is a new show that just started last Thursday, and I come on every Thursday between the time of okay, I'll say that first, 9 Eastern time in the morning, 8 o'clock Central time in the morning. And I come on every Thursday to talk about expanding your impact. And I know you're probably saying, what do you kind of mean? I understand about expanding impact, but what are you going to bring to us? Glad you asked. Glad you asked. So I want to make sure that everybody in the world understands how they can become an impact in people's lives. And then I want to explain different ways how to do that. A lot of times, we're talking about we want to be an impactor, or we want to take our business to another level, or we want to be an influencer, or everything. Everybody, kind of wants to be in that zone sometimes, especially like I said, when you want to help others. So I thought this would be a good way to come every week and give you some tips and tools, and even bring people on a few times. You'll see some guests that I'll be bringing on that creates that expanding your impact and really understanding how to do it. Now, a lot of times I look at the non-for-profit organizations, just use that example, and their impact is expanded because of what they're trying to help the world in any type of non-for-profit they're doing. Maybe they're trying to help the homeless, or they're trying to help, battered women and children, or, different health diseases that they're trying to get more money for, and to ask people for that so we can help more research get done, like for cancer or different other diseases. I feel like that's really important to expand the impact because you're really trying to help others. But even some people that are speakers and authors that are trying to impact their business and show people what they can do and give value to other people, that's important as well. So that's what I'm going to be bringing to this platform every Thursday, is to really help you hone into that and understanding different ways and how to look at things differently when you're trying to expand that impact in the world. Okay, so today I want to start by talking about, and I've been hearing this a lot lately. People ask me, well, Barbara, I want to become an influencer. What's an influencer? I'm like, Now, everybody in your mind, you're probably saying, well, I kind of know what that is, but it's kind of, sometimes you have to turn back and look at Webster and get that definition again, because, you could be going in your merry way, thinking you're doing something, and then you find out maybe that wasn't the real definition of what's going on with that particular item. And I always do that with everything I talk about when I get to speak on stages. If I'm talking about purpose, if I'm talking about, social media, anything, I always still bring people back to that, hone in on that definition. The thing that sometimes we take for granted, and the easiest things that we can look at, is we just have to just define it again. We just have to go through the whole definition of what it is. So I want to put up here, because I'm going to go through some tips that's regarding an influencer. So I'm going to take you through some tips and some ways how to understand what an influencer is and what kind of aspects that you want to, and characteristics that you want to find when it comes to being an influencer. So tips to becoming an influencer by Barbara Beckley, Expanding Your Impact Show. Yay. So the first thing, before we even dive into it, I want to go into what is an influencer, just the question I asked. It's simple, really simple. It's funny because I was looking in other areas, because they give this big old bold definition, and it boils down to this: a person who inspires or guides the action of others. Really think about that. A person who inspires or guides the action of others. When you really pinpoint what that is, that's very important. And that's very big responsibility for any person that's trying to become or is that influencer. Sometimes your influencer don't even realize you're one. You could have did something spectacular or just anything in somebody's life, and all of a sudden they're like, You know what? You influenced me to do this, and now I'm able to do certain things in my life. That's an influencer. When you can inspire somebody, when you can basically show what you're doing and somebody wants to do the same thing you're doing. Now, you have to be careful with that because, as the definition says, you can inspire and guide the action of others. So let's take on a positive note. If you're in the world and you're caring about people and you add value to people's lives and you're encouraging people and you're, up on stages or just, in social media or wherever that you're speaking, networking, just talking one-on-one with people, and you're a very positive, motivated, charismatic person, people will see that and they might get attached to it because they like what they see and they're saying in their mind, oh, I want to be like that person. And I think that's one awesome thing to look at when people are doing something positive. But what happens, and I'm going to have to, do the disclaimer on this, you could also be an influencer in a negative way. So we have to make sure that whatever we're doing in life, and if we want to help others, that we need to check ourselves first and what we're doing, and if we're bringing out the right kind of values, the right kind of examples, the right type of reputation of what we're doing, because people are looking and watching you. I always tell people, anytime that you have a business, anytime that you get on any kind of stage to speak, anytime you're writing a book, anytime you're caring for somebody, I don't care what you're doing. If you're doing something else for somebody, you can become an influencer in somebody else's life because they're watching you. People are looking at what you're doing. And a lot of times people are looking for people, individuals that can help them. And like the definition says, guide them and inspire them to do what they would like, something that they would want to do. So they're always searching. So my influencer, the person that I'm influenced by, is first of all, God. I know if you're like saying, okay, Barbara, probably everybody, but no, not everybody looks at God as an influencer. But he's my influencer because he sacrificed so much for us every day, every second of the day. And he cares about us so much. And I told myself I could just be 10% of that because God is just almighty. And a lot of people have different beliefs, but that's my belief. And I'm just using examples as one of my biggest influencer is God, is to study his word, see what he does, the caring and the loving. That's what I want to become. That's what I want to be all the time. So that influences me. Another influencer I have is Oprah. I look at Oprah, where she started and how she didn't let anybody tell her different, that she can become the influencer in the world that she is right now. That no matter what she looked like and what she did, that she still pushed, no matter what society was saying about her. To me, that's an awesome influence because that's giving you hope that if you're just like that, if you don't look a certain way or if you don't act a certain way that society feels like you should, you can still push and get to that level in your life. So Oprah is an influence. She's an influence to me. Another influencer that I have is my dad. Before he passed away when I was 17, he was my influencer because he encouraged me. And he told me, he said, Barbara, you are going to be awesome. You're going to be spectacular when you grow. You're my princess. And he used to always call me his princess. And he would always encourage me, no matter what people were saying outside of our conversations. He would always come back to me and say, you know what, there's going to be people that's not going to believe, that's not going to be there for you 100%, but just know that I'm there for you. And even when I pass, that I'm looking over you. And I always think about that every time I'm doing something. That I see that him and God and my dad is looking over me. And he was an influencer because he was very educated. He believed in education. He believed in always forever learning and growing in your life. He believed in loving others no matter what type of race or creed they was. He believed in that. That was my influence for me because he taught me to give everybody a fair chance to love on others no matter who they were or what they are. I'm so glad that he instilled that in me. So when I'm growing up today, I can make that same, let's just say, influence on others so they can love and cherish each other and respect each other. So what an influencer is? A person who inspires and guides the action of others. Are you an influencer? Does this definition fit you? Well, I'm going to let you think about it a little bit as we go through some of the steps I'm going to talk about. So the first thing you want to do is you want to know what is your purpose. I'm always, if you hear me on this platform or other platforms, I'm always talking about PPD, your purpose, your passion, and your drive. What is your purpose? Your purpose is your big picture in life. It's that internal vision that you have and what you want to achieve. So when you're looking at your purpose, what is internally that you really saying to yourself, I want to do this and I know I have to. It's not something that I just saying that I'm going to do. It's something I have to do in life. That is your big purpose. And sometimes it takes steps and it takes time to figure that out. I didn't know my purpose when I turned 10 or even 12 or even 17. 17 is when I just got just a little bit of understanding on what my purpose was supposed to be. And then when I still was aging more and more, I was growing into that purpose. But I know one of the biggest things of my purpose, just use me as an example, is that I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that they had a voice, that they were able to speak no matter who they were, what they knew, that they have a voice in this world. Because when I was younger, I was bullied very badly. And I didn't think I had a voice because people were basically telling me I was stupid. I was dumb. I wouldn't amount to anything. And I told myself when I got older, and it really grounded in me, I said, I want to make sure that no one feels the way that I felt. Now, I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't know where it was going to take me, what career or job or task or anything. All I knew my purpose was in grounding me to make sure that people understood who they were and that they can speak up for themselves and that they have a gift in them. Everybody has a unique gift in them. So that was my purpose. Now, from that point, I've learned, that I became a speaker, a personal development and motivational speaker. I became a leader in certain areas to make sure that people are hearing who they are and hearing their gifts that they have in them. So I started working with people. I started coaching and counseling. And then from that point on, I said, what else can I do to help individuals make sure that their voice, that their passion is out there? Well, I started saying, they need to be visible. So I started getting platforms, looking at certain platforms that I could put in my business to help others get that visibility so they could hear their voices. So you see how it started off as that big picture in my mind, in my heart, in my soul, that I wanted to help people understand who they are and that they had a voice, and turned it into certain areas in my business to help that passion. Now that's the passion, that's the other P, passion, to hit that purpose. And then once that happened, the driving force of always remembering where I came from, always remembering that I didn't want to feel that certain way again, always remembering that I didn't want other people to feel that certain way. So that created that purpose and passion to go hand in hand. So see, this is something that you have to really, really sit back and think about before you even think about this influencer right now. So you see, I'm starting at the basics of what is your purpose, because if you don't know what you feel inside and what's your bigger picture inside of you, what's indwelling in you, what's your soul and your heart, then how are you going to influence others? How are you going to create that impact? As I said, expand your impact, because you got to get to know you first. So you start there. Then after you go through that part of it, then you want to define your brand. Now, some of you might be asking, well, I thought purpose was brand. I thought it was the same. No, it's not. No, it's not. Your brand, I'm going to sum it up what your brand is. It's not fonts. It's not color. It's not how your website looks. That's all the technical stuff of it and the skill stuff of it. But defining your brand is basically, and what your brand is basically your reputation. It's how you interact with others and create the memorable experiences, teaching that they can expect from you. That is your brand. So you have to know what the brand is. Your reputation is your brand. How you show up is your brand. How do you respond to others is your brand. People are always going to remember what you said to them and how what that famous line, that famous quote that's in I always forget. That's bad how I love the quote, but I always Maya Angelou. That Maya Angelou always states about they might, they might not remember what you tell them and what you said, and I'm saying it wrong, but the ending part is, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. That's your brand. Now, defining the brand is where you have to step to yourself and say, okay, what is my niche? Who are the people that I'm drawn to so I can get that impact in that crowd? If you're drawn to help, okay, use me as an example. If I'm drawn to helping women understand their purpose and understand how to define that and then go into the visibility aspect and helping them through, doing one-on-one interviews, doing TV streaming shows, being in social media area. I'm defining my brand now. But within me defining that, I still have to make sure that is my rep. That is my reputation. So I have to make sure that I'm showing up, doing what I'm supposed to do, showing my purpose, passion, and drive, making sure that I'm a positive influence because I'm becoming that influencer. So you want to define your brand. You want to know. It's just like find your niche. But you got to make sure that whatever your niche is, when you understand that it's your reputation is the brand. Okay? So a lot of people misinterpret that a little bit, but that's what that is about. Then you want to decide, now this is going into the social media world. I'm going to do some tips about this. Deciding on your social media platform. I know, I'm going to say this right now. A lot of people are like, well, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I have my Facebook business page. Oh, and also I'm on LinkedIn. And then I'm also, I'm in Clubhouse, and the list goes on. Now, I'm not saying that it's not good to be on different social media platforms. But if you want to become the influencer of your niche, of your brand, you need to find where your people are at. If they lie in Instagram and TikTok, then you make it your goal to set upon, I'm going to say that in the next slide, that you have to make sure that you're really deciding what platform where your followers are going to be and they're going to hear you. You don't want to be a jack of all trades and master none, as they say. The old saying goes. I'm putting myself in age round. You want to make sure that you master the few that you can, that you know where your people, where your potential clients, where your potential, coaches or business partners or what have you are, where they are. You don't want to put yourself in a whole bunch of platforms and then you're dilly-dallying everywhere else and you're not really honing in and making sure and taking the time to understand that platform, taking the time to understand what they want to hear, taking the time and what value they're looking for from you. So you have to decide on what social media platform. And this is part of what I talk about, and I teach this in my workshops about a social media business plan. And that's part of the business plan where you have to really hone in and see what social media platform you want to use. And then once you do that, you want to develop a social media strategy. This comes something like a business plan. You want to strategize what you want to put out there, what you want videos, written content, a mixture of both. And then from that point, if you're talking about your niche, are you giving them the value that they're looking for? Or are you just out there because you just want to be seen? It's one thing to say, oh, I'm out there on Instagram and I got all my information out there and it looks all nice and pretty, you got the numbers and everything. But are you giving them something that they can take and grow from, and something that can take them from one extreme to the next? Are you helping them with their challenges that they need? Are you helping them with their, what the word always says, pain points? Are you helping in that area? If you're not, then it's just you're wasting time on that platform because you're really not putting in the content that's needed. So think about when you're developing your social media strategy. Now we're still talking about being an influencer now. This goes all with that. That you want to make sure that you really, really, really putting in some effort into giving the steps on how you're going to show up in social media and strategize about what you're doing. What are you trying to accomplish? What is the end result that you're trying to accomplish by being on social media and whatever social media platform you picked? You're trying to be influencer, okay, then you need to make sure that you are strategically doing that. Then post consistently. I always tell people, if you don't post on a regular basis, they're going to think whatever platform you're on, you're no longer there for them. You're no longer available. They might even think you might not even have the business anymore, what you're trying to do. So you want to make sure that you're consistently posting valuable content. And I say that loudly and over again, real slow. You want to make sure you're posting consistent value content that they can get help from. Even with the questions that you ask, some people throw questions out there just to get the engagement going. Even with that, give them something that they can take and make sure that it's aligning with what? With your brand and your purpose, because it all comes together, because you're looking for those people that are trying to hear your voice and what you're trying to be an influence in. So that's why it's so important to post consistently. If you say you're going to post 5 times out the week, then continuously do that. Don't slack off. You're building that relationship with people, and that's building that influence with them. So you want to make sure you do that as well. Then another thing you want to do, you talk about influence, you want to look decent. Invest in quality equipment, video platforms, lighting, etc. Right now, I invested in StreamYard. It gives me I call them certain gadgets, certain things that I can use. Like right now, I'm able to pull up this PowerPoint to show you. I have a nice background. Hopefully, you like the background. I got a background. It's my brand because it's the Diamond Factor Experience Network. So I have my background there. I have this lighting shining on me so you can see me and see who I am. I got a backdrop to make sure that hopefully it's not too to the point where you're noticing that more so than what I'm trying to say. But it's not like a lot of clutter in the background. There's not a whole bunch of the file cabinet or a bedroom or whatever. So that's what I'm talking about, investing in quality equipment. It's just not the equipment of your video and your camera, but your whole look. Again, if you're trying to be an influencer and you're trying to be an example and inspiring people, you want to make sure that you have the right products and things that you're using for you to show up. I had to wind up buying, the backdrop I bought, I invested in that, and I invested in increasing my StreamYard, my StreamYard, to make sure that I had the right bandwidth. Because sometimes internet, if you don't have it plugged right in your computer, it can go crazy. You can look fuzzy, you can lose. There's a lot of things that can happen. We know that with internet. So I made sure that I upgraded my internet bandwidth. I want to make sure the speed was faster. So there might be a lot of things you have to do in order to show up, to make sure that people see what kind of influencer you're trying to be. So that means being prepared and investing a little bit in the quality of how you show up. And sometimes it's not that expensive. It's just finding some ways to make it work for you. So don't think that you have to go out and buy a $500 video camera. Sometimes you just buy those little cameras of maybe $50 or less, put it in your computer, and then make sure that it's not foggy. Make sure it's not blurry. Make sure you're showing up in the right color and it's not faded. There's ways to do it without hitting your pocketbook. But you want to make sure that you're showing up in a way that people can see you. Oh, excuse me. Now, learning about video editing process. This is something that it took me a minute to learn myself when I started doing my Facebooks and stuff. I used to just do it, just the first time around, and that's it. Then I found the world of the editing. And I'm telling you, it's a wonderful world to be in. It's a wonderful world to be in because 2 things happen here. First, You can create a video of yourself, save it, and if you want to add words to it, if you want to add music to it, if you want to add some info commercials before you come on, you can do all that, cut and paste in a video. And then that's your final product. And then you can show it, upload it in social media, upload it wherever you need to do, to your website, whatever. And it looks clean. And it looks, like I said, you are showing you're being an influencer. So people, again, are looking at what you do. So sometimes that editing process to understand what videos are very important. I do it all the time. I do it all the time, and I'm doing more of it. And then it saves you time too, because think about it. If you take your video, say that you have to do a presentation, 15, 20-minute presentation, and they say, well, we need it on this day. You might not be able to show up that day, but you can say, well, you know what? I can send you a video, and then you could do the video weeks before, edit it, take out of it, whatever you have to do, and send it to them. Or if you have a program, if you're on a certain network and they're like, okay, you know what, you can give us a video for your show. You could set up that and have the video for 3 weeks in because you did your recording already. And all they have to do is upload it. So sometimes it's a time saver too. And it makes things look more clean. You can do more, you can edit things where you can add more stuff to it that you want to add. Like I said, you can put wording in there. Like if I'm talking right now, wording can pop up of certain, main things that you want to, respond to. Excuse me real quickly. So sorry. I don't want to lose my voice. And then you can also, like I said, you could add something on the bottom that might be running anything. So when you're editing, there's a lot of creative things that you can do when you edit your video. So if you can't do it yourself, because you might say, well, Barbara, I'm not an editor. I don't know how to really do that. Maybe you know how to do it, some other people, but I don't know how to do it. That's okay. That's where you come and collaborate and find others that like to do it. You can go on different websites and they have people. It's not that much sometimes where they can just edit your videos for you. Fiverr, that's what I was just trying to think of. You can go to Fiverr and they can help you. They have people that will, edit your video for you as well. And then be willing to collaborate. This is one of the biggies I say when you're an influencer. If people see that you want to collaborate and help and give value, they will welcome you in with open arms and they will tell others because they'll know that, hey, you're legit. You are trying to help others, not just yourself. Even though in the back of your mind, you're probably saying, well, this has helped me too, which it does. Because when you think about it, if you do everything that's being done here that I said, it's going to come back to you. So I tell people, don't worry about that so much. Don't think about that as your main thing. Your main thing is to what as an influencer? To what did I say at the beginning? To inspire, and others will watch what value you give because they're inspired to do it too. So when you're willing to collaborate with others and get to know others and network with others, then you get to know other influencers. You might find other ways on how they do certain things, or maybe an editor for your videos. You never know. You never know what's going to happen when you start collaborating with others. And then the nice thing about it, if you meet another person that's an influencer that might be a little bit more influenced than you are, and you're just starting or in the middle of your being an influencer, you two can come together and make a powerful stage with each other so people can really be inspired. You see how that works? Instead of just do it all on yourself, sometimes you have to do it all on your own. You can have others come in and collaborate with you. So that means getting together as being a collaboration and being an influence in the world, because that's what it's all about. That's what you're trying to do. And then 10, contribute to others. I always say when I'm thinking about, influence or impact, however you want to say it, I want to contribute to somebody else's life that can help them move. I think that's the biggest thing out of everything. I want to make sure that I was able to help somebody just even if it's a little bit, just a little bit, to get them moving in their world, under their purpose or whatever they're trying to do in their business or in their personal life. I want to contribute to others. And I always tell people, when you do that, when you put yourself out there to help others, things will come your way automatically. It might not be in the right time, because a lot of us are looking at time saying, well, why I need this now? I need this right now. But a lot of times it's just, if you just fall in love with contributing to others, with helping others, believe me, it's going to come back to you more than once, more than twice, more than a few times in your life. So I want you to remember, that's like, to me, out of everything, that is the biggest thing you can do, is be that contributor. Now, just to remind you, an influencer is a person that inspires. So I want to just leave you with this, is that be that positive motivator. Be that positive person. And it doesn't have to take, when you hear influencers, sometimes a lot of people think an influencer, you have to be a whole lot of people you're influencing. If you just influence one person in the world, one individual, that you help them and guide them in something in their life, you are an influencer. Just that one person. So just why I say, open up your purpose that you have, and that passion and that drive that I said earlier, and make sure that you equip yourself as being expanding your impact by being that influencer, what you want to be in life. We have a short time, as we know, in this world. We have noticed with everything going on for the last 2.5 years. And I just want to tell you, please don't waste time trying to figure stuff out. There is help out there. That you can collaborate with people, you collaborate with others. Let's come together and be that influence, so we can help the world heal. Right now, the world needs healing and guidance and love. So whatever you do, whatever kind of influence you're trying to be, make sure the love is there, and make sure the caring is there, and make sure that you're doing what you love to do too. Because that goes a long way when you're doing something that you like to do. So with that, I'm going to expand your impact every Thursday right here under the Diamond Factor Experience Network. My name is Barbara J. Beckley, and I'm so happy to start this show to help you and guide you your way to that next level in life, to be that impactor in others. With that said, I will see you next Thursday. You have a wonderful, awesome, tremendous rest of your week, and we'll talk soon. Bye.